when a spring is pulled, the extension of the spring, is proportional to the force that you apply to it. Now this is called Hooke's law. Hooke's with an E, Hooke's law. Let's just see what that means in practice. So let's have a spring, we'll hang it from the ceiling or a clamp stand, and there's our spring to start with, and it has an unstretched length of let's say 30 centimeters. Unstretched length, its original length. Now if we then put a spring on, hang a weight from it, maybe it extends. So here's our weight. Let's say we're going to put a weight of 10 newtons on there, and now its length is, let's say, 35 centimeters. So what is its extension? Well, that's the difference between the original length, starting length with no load, and the new length. So the extension would be simply 5 centimeters extension. And Hooke's law means that if we were to double that load now providing that we haven't stretched the spring beyond its limit of proportionality, which we'll look at in the next flashcard. So let's hang 20 newtons from it now. What we should find is that the extension will also double. So the extension was 5 centimeters before, now the extension should be 10 centimeters, making an overall length of 40 centimeters for the spring. And that's Hooke's law. It can be summed up using this equation, which is given on your exam equations sheet. Hooray! So F equals K times E. F is the force that you're hanging on the spring or you're stretching the spring by, and being a force that has units of newtons. K is something called the spring constant. The spring constant. And it is sometimes called the spring stiffness. Stiffness, because if you have a large K value, that means you've got a very thick spring which is very difficult to stretch. The units of the spring constant are in newtons per meter. Now sometimes you may see that in newtons per centimeter, so watch out for that non-standard unit. E is the extension, and the extension will be measured in units of meters if you have the spring constant in newtons per meter, or if the spring constant is in newtons per centimeter, then we would have the extension in centimeters in order for the units to agree. So watch out for that. It can happen. So that's Hooke's law. F equals K times extension. K is the spring constant.